You sure?
Yes.
All right. We'll call this meeting of the Critical Area Commission to order. And first, get some housekeeping out of the way. I want to announce that the Critical Area Commission is holding this meeting virtually using Microsoft Teams and will be streamed to the public. The public will be able to view the meeting from the Commission's website. Minutes of the meetings will be provided on our website. All microphones will be muted. We ask that you hold all questions or comments until the end of each presentation. And I guess, each presentation. If you have a question or comment, please note in the chat box and that you would like to speak. I will call your name in order. Please announce yourself by name when speaking so that attendees on the phone can identify you. If you are joining the meeting by phone, press 6 to unmute yourself. The public is invited to submit written comments on the agenda up to item 24 hours prior to the meeting. Those comments, if received, will be read by the executive director at appropriate time. As far as I know, we don't have any comments, right, Kate? And
correct.
So we'll move on to ask for if you've read the minutes and
Before we do that, Chairman Deegan, can we do roll call and announce the change to the agenda?
I was going to do that backwards, but okay, we'll do roll call. You can do the roll call now.
Okay, great. I'm going to call out the names of the commissioners I have in attendance. If I haven't called your name at the end, I'll ask you to announce yourself. So we have noted Commissioner Ackley, Commissioner Beulah, Commissioner Eames, Commissioner Ferguson, Commissioner Grant, Commissioner Greer, Commissioner Jacobs, Commissioner Laird, Commissioner McCarthy, Commissioner Mahoney, Commissioner Malkus, Commissioner Marks, Commissioner Merritt, Commissioner Parker, Commissioner Taylor, Commissioner Herr Cornwell, Commissioner Hertz, Commissioner McCall, Commissioner Robertson, and Commissioner Barney Alvarado. Is there anyone else who has joined us that I have missed?
Commissioner Hewitt.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner Hewitt.
Mangum here.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, roll call is done. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay, now can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting?
Move to approve from Mahoney.
Thank you, Mayor Mahoney. Appreciate that. Is there a second?
Second, Commissioner Hewitt.
Thank you, Mr. Hewitt. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? The minutes passed unanimously. We're going to change things around a little bit today on the agenda. We're going to start with programs first, and then end up with our favorite project today. First, I'd like to thank all of you that attended that tour of the Port of Baltimore and had a good time, especially Jeff Ferguson. I appreciate your comments to me and afterward. And while you're all sitting there thinking today and what a nice, beautiful day it is, if there's any interest in going back to Poplar Island, and you'll later this year, if you let Kate or Lynette know, and we can probably set that up too. That's all it changes literally every year. It's a different place to go. I wasn't with you all last year, but I just think it's, it's a great little site to visit, and coming up with what else we're doing in the Bay now. It's a perfect thing to show some of the newer commissioners. We have a new addition to the commission today is Chad Malkus from Cambridge. Chad, you're on here. If you could just say maybe a couple words about yourself to introduce you to the rest of the commissioners, I'd appreciate it.
Sure. Thank you. Really pleased and honored to be here. Chad Malkus. I'm born and raised in Cambridge, Dorchester County. Went to undergrad at Clemson, go Tigers, and went to law school at University of Baltimore, focused in environmental law, land use, coastal law, wetlands law, and worked for the as an attorney for the Planning Commission in Dorchester, among other things. And I worked for PNC Private Bank in their Trust and Estates division. But I'm also a recently elected city commissioner for the city of Cambridge, and have been at that for about a year and a half. And that's it in a nutshell.
Thank you very much. We're very happy to have you on here.
Thank you.
We'll move right into our projects with Andy. Yeah, Andy's going first with no, I'm sorry, I've already messed it up. We're going to do programs first.
But I'm still going first.
But Andy's still going first. Okay. You're going to do the town of Denton. Thank you.
Yeah,
Nope.
sorry. 1 second, need to rearrange my slides a bit. Okay, so hopefully everybody can see this and hear me. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Annie Sakarik, and I will be presenting the comprehensive review of the Town of Denton's Critical Area Program. The Town of Denton is located in Caroline County along the Choptank River, as indicated by the yellow star on this map. The town encompasses all 3 critical area land designations, including the intensely developed area, IDA, limited development area, LDA, and resource conservation area, RCA. In addition, a portion of the town's shoreline is mapped as modified buffer area. The critical area law requires each local jurisdiction to review its entire critical area program at least every 6 years. Denton's existing program was approved in 2013. The existing program will be repealed and replaced with this proposed ordinance. The comprehensive update of the critical area program brings the town zoning ordinance into conformance with the requirements of the critical area law and criteria. Our office developed a model ordinance for counties and towns to use as a template when developing and updating their local critical area programs. The model ordinance provides all of the basic elements of the state critical area regulations, but local jurisdictions can then customize and modify the model in order to meet their local needs. However, any proposed alternative standards must be at least as effective as the state statute and regulations. The majority of Denton's updated program does not deviate from the model ordinance. However, the town has proposed to modify their local program in 2 areas in order to better accommodate their local needs. Both modifications are similar to language that the Commission has previously approved in other programs. So the 2 modifications are outlined on page 2 of the staff report. The first modification is an opt-in provision that allows non-water dependent structures on piers for commercial projects in the IDA and for small-scale renewable energy systems on piers in the critical area. This provision includes all the applicable standards and restrictions found in the non-water dependent projects chapter of COMAR. Then the town elected to modify their growth allocation standards to allow new IDA to be less than 20 acres and to be located non-adjacent to existing LDA or other IDA. However, any growth allocation proposals submitted under these conditions must be served by public water and sewer, be located in a priority funding area, be consistent with the town's comprehensive plan, and have an economic benefit to the community. And to reiterate, the Commission has approved similar language in other local programs. And due to recent updates to the water dependent facilities chapter of the critical area regulations, Commission staff identified a few areas within the proposed ordinance that require minor revisions. Additionally, the growth allocation floating zone standards must be updated to reflect current law and regulations. Therefore, Commission staff has proposed revised updated language to be added and amended in the final text, as described in the revised attachment 1 to the staff report. And I'll note that there was a typo in the original attachment 1, and the correct chapter for their growth allocation floating zone is chapter 128-175. And the revised attachment has been uploaded into Microsoft Teams. And I will also point out that the town had no concerns with these proposed changes. So thank you very much. I will now turn it over to Chairman Deegan.
Who will recognize Sue Greer, the chairman of the program subcommittee.
Mr. Chairman, the program subcommittee concurs with the chairman's recommendation that the comprehensive review of the Town of Denton's critical area program may be processed as a refinement to the Town of Denton's critical area program. Further, the subcommittee finds that the proposed changes are consistent with the purposes, policy, and goals of the critical area law and regulations, and as such, recommend the chairman approve the Town of Denton's comprehensive review with the conditions and edits set forth in the revised attachment 1 to the staff report dated May 4th, 2022, so long as such conditions and changes are incorporated into the town's critical area program within 120 days of the chairman's approval.
Thank you very much. I'll accept your concurrence and conditions, and that will be my final decision. Andy Sekurik, you ready for Denton again?
Yes, thank you, Chairman Deegan. Again, I'm Annie Sekurik, and I will now present a minor update to the Town of Denton's critical area map. The proposed minor update consists of replacing the label Buffer Exemption Area with Modified Buffer Area, or MBA, on the town's critical area map to be consistent with the language in the updated critical area program, which I just reviewed in the previous presentation. This is a zoomed-in map of Denton, and the modified buffer areas are represented in blue. No changes to the 1,000-foot boundary, the critical area designations, or the previously approved MBAs are proposed. It is simply a label change. COMAR was updated to use the term modified buffer area instead of buffer exemption area in 2012. Therefore, the map change is consistent with the critical area regulations. So thank you again, and I will now turn it back over to Chairman Deegan.
Who will gladly recognize Sue Greer, the chairman of the program subcommittee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The program subcommittee concurs with the chairman's determination that the Town of Denton's map update may be reviewed as a refinement to the Town of Denton's critical area program. Further, the subcommittee finds that the proposed changes are consistent with the purposes, policy, and goals of the critical area law and regulations, and as such, recommends the chairman approve the non-substantive map update as proposed.
I appreciate your concurrence, and that will be my final decision then. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, well, next move to Lisa Herger, who's going to do a refinement on the solar development projects in St. Mary's County.
Okay. Thank you, Chairman Deegan. This is Lisa Herger, the Regulations and Mapping Coordinator for the Commission. St. Mary's County has sent into the Commission a text amendment to their zoning ordinance. On March 1st, 2022, the County Commissioners approved ordinance number 2022-06, which made some text language changes to the ordinance. It was subsequently sent to the office, and Chairman Deegan determined on April 18th that the text changes could be processed through the refinement process. And subsequently today, we're asking for the Commission's consideration of concurrence with his determination. So just to take you through a quick summary of the changes to the county zoning ordinance, the amendments included the following definitions: farmland of statewide important soils, solar commercial, industrial, or institutional accessory, solar community, solar residential or agricultural accessory, and solar utility scale. And then the county also included solar major and solar minor as permitted uses within their zoning code. And this also includes all three critical area designations for intensely developed areas, limited development areas, and resource conservation areas. It also deleted and replaced the definition of prime agricultural soils. And finally, it amended the parking standards and loading standards. So in reviewing the zoning code changes, a few things to point out. You all may recall a couple months ago, you approved for final adoption COMAR 270114, which is the Renewable Energy Generating Systems chapter in the Code of Maryland Regulations. And the staff reviewed it along with Chairman Deegan and determined that these changes are consistent with those updates to COMAR. And also in the county code, it also requires that any major or minor solar projects that happen within St. Mary's County's critical area must be consistent with all the other provisions found within our subtitle, COMAR, our title, COMAR Title 27, Subtitle 01, which is where we find Chapter 14, the Renewable Energy Generating Systems chapter, and also COMAR Title 27, Subtitle 02, which has to do with how local programs process these types of projects. And with that, I will turn it over to Chairman Deegan.
Who will recognize Sue Greer, the chairman of the program subcommittee?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The program subcommittee concurs with the chairman's determination that St. Mary's County Ordinance 2022-06 may be processed as a refinement to St. Mary's County's critical area program. Further, the subcommittee finds that the proposed changes are consistent with the purposes, policy, and goals of the critical area law and regulations, and as such recommends the chairman approve St. Mary's County Ordinance 2022-06 as proposed.
Thank you very much. I very much appreciate the concurrence and approval, and that will be my final decision. We're moving right along. Alex DeWeese, you have a refinement from Dorchester County.
Yes, thank you, Chairman Deegan. Okay, good afternoon. Again, my name is Alex DeWeese, and I'll be covering Dorchester County Bill 2022-2, which is regarding non-water dependent structures on piers. Obviously, you recognize the map of Maryland before you. Dorchester County is highlighted in red, and you'll note that it's located on Maryland's lower eastern shore. Dorchester County Council adopted Bill 2020-2 on March 1st of this year. It includes adding the definition of non-water dependent project in Chapter 68-1 of the County Code, which is the definition section of their critical area program. It also includes language regarding such projects in Chapter 68-5, which is the general requirements section. The county elected not to authorize small renewable energy generating projects on piers with this text amendment. And just as a reminder to everyone, non-water dependent projects are allowed in the critical area as an opt-in provision. And as per Natural Resources Article 8-1808.4 and COMAR 2701.13, a local jurisdiction may not issue a building permit or any approvals for non-water dependent projects until the commission approves an amendment to the local program, including the required criteria. So the criteria for non-water dependent structures on piers is included in the attachment to your staff report. It basically includes that accessory structures and uses are permitted if they're incidental to a commercial use. So they wouldn't be permitted on a residential, institutional or industrial pier. They're allowed only in the intensely developed area, and the project must obtain all applicable permits. It can expand beyond the pier itself, and it also can exceed 18 feet in height or 1,000 square feet in area. At this time, I will turn it back to Chairman Deegan.
Thank you, Alex, and I'll recognize Sue Greer, chairman of the program subcommittee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And on behalf of the program subcommittee, I would like to welcome our newest commission member from Dorchester County and let him know that I am a parent of a proud Clemson alum. So go Tigers. With that, Mr. Chairman, the program subcommittee concurs with the chairman's determination that Dorchester County Bill 2022-2 may be processed as a refinement to Dorchester County's critical area program. Further, the subcommittee finds that the proposed changes are consistent with the policies, purposes, and goals of the critical area law and regulations. And as such, the subcommittee recommends the chairman approve Dorchester Bill 2022-2 as proposed. Thank you.
I'm so happy for that concurrence and gladly approve it, and that will stand as my final decision. Okay, we have Nick Kelly doing refinement for the town of Easton.
Thank you, Chairman Deegan. Yes, on behalf of the town of Easton, I am presenting their comprehensive review. I do see that we do have now Sharon Van Emberg, who's the town attorney, here today in case there are any questions. As I said this morning, the town planner apologizes. I believe he is at the American Planning Association conference in San Diego, so he's probably having a much more wonderful time out on the beach than what we're doing today, since it looks still kind of rainy.
I'm just surprised that half my staff didn't want to go there.
It would have been nice. So, Easton is located in Talbot County. It's right in the center of the county. You've probably, if you've been to Ocean City, you have gone through the center of the town and probably stopped there to grab food or snacks on the way. Similar to what Andy discussed earlier this afternoon with the town of Denton, its comprehensive use review is coming in under Natural Resources Article 8-1809G and 8-1809P. The last comprehensive review was performed in 2013, and their maps were updated in 2015 with a slight revision in 2016 to correct a designation from, I believe, resource conservation area to intensely developed area. They followed the model ordinance that commission staff provided to them. Annie Sakarik and Jennifer Esposito worked with the town on that. They do have two additions. They also added the non-water dependent structures on Piers language to allow both accessory commercial and non-water dependent projects on Piers in the IDA and small scale renewable energy generating systems on Piers in the critical area. They also added language to allow emergency communications towers in all three critical area designations. That tower has to be owned by a governmental agency, meet a public need, and is not solely for the purposes of a commercial enterprise. Just wanted to kind of show once again the map. They were one of the first towns to adopt their critical area update map in accordance with our change in statute for a digitized map. And as I'm going to show in a second, in this area is where Cook's Hope is located, which is also within the town, where if you're ever going through on your way to Oxford, I suggest driving by to see the belted Galloway cows, because they are just fantastic to see in person. We are recommending some changes to their comprehensive review. This is based on updates to the critical areas water dependent facilities regulations, which the commission approved in January and were effective as of February, as well as a couple of oversights in the draft update that were missed. We spoke with Lynn Thomas, again, the town planner, and he concurred with all of these changes. It includes adding the notwithstanding language to the critical area overlay district to ensure that our regulations and statute apply, even if their comprehensive view isn't updated before we have changes to our regulations or law. Added the critical area goals to their goals section, or the purpose section to their goals section. Some minor changes regarding stormwater management in the IDA and no variances for density in the RCA. Within the buffer, one of the tables had to be revised based on that change in our regulations from February, along with adding additional tables to provide planting flexibility. Those are found in our regulations. It was just an oversight. They were missed when they were doing an update. So we put those in so they have that additional flexibility. Once again, water dependent facilities, we updated that to match our newly updated regulations. Some slight tweaks to the growth allocation section to clarify the use of their previously approved alternative adjacency language, and also to ensure that they can enforce the buffer management plan, the habitat protection plan, and any other plans that would be approved as part of growth allocation. And finally, we had to add or revise a few definitions based on those recent updates to our COMA regulations, and their supplemental uses section needed a slight revision once again in conformance with the changes to the water dependence facilities regulations. With that, if there are no questions, I will turn it over to the chairman.
Thank you, Nick, and thanks for the information on the cows. I'll now recognize Sue Greer, the chairman of the program subcommittee, for motion.
Mr. Chairman, the program subcommittee concurs with the chairman's determination that the comprehensive review of the town of Easton's critical area program may be processed as a refinement to the town's critical area program. Further, the subcommittee finds that the proposed changes are consistent with the purposes, policy, and goals of the critical area law and regulations. As such, the subcommittee recommends the chairman approve the town of Easton's comprehensive review with the conditions and edits set forth in attachment 1 to the revised staff report dated May 4th, 2022, and that such changes be incorporated into the Town of Easton's critical area program within 120 days of the chairman's approval.
Thank you very much for that concurrence, and I accept those conditions, and that will stand as my final decision.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I think that concludes the program subcommittee's business.
Record time. Thank you so much, Sue. Next, we'll go to recognized, well, first we'll go and see Annie Sakaric again, who's going to tell us about the Port of Baltimore, which we all had an opportunity to see 2 weeks ago.
Yes, thank you so much. Hi again, I am Annie Sakaric, and I will be presenting the proposed island ecosystem restoration project at Barren Island. An overview of this project was presented to the project subcommittee last month. And I do believe we have representatives on the line, including Amanda Pena-Fiel with the Maryland Port Administration, Mara Morris with the Maryland Environmental Service, Angie Sowers with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and I think there may be some additional folks, but thank you all again so much for your time again this afternoon, and thank you for your time this morning. So Barren Island is located within the Chesapeake Bay, about a mile west of Upper Hoopers Island in Dorchester County. The Barren Island project is the smaller of the two island restoration projects associated with the Mid-Chesapeake Bay Island Ecosystem Project, also known as the Mid-Bay Project. The restoration of James Island is the other half of the Mid-Bay Project and will come to the Commission in the future. The Barren Island project is a joint effort between the Maryland Department of Transportation, Maryland Port Administration, and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Currently, the island is 138 acres and is protected by nearly 5,000 linear feet of existing stone sill. This restoration project includes the modification and construction of additional sill, the installation of a segmented breakwater, the installation of 2 bird nesting islands, and the creation of tidal wetlands. The goals of the Mid-Bay project include restoring and protecting aquatic and terrestrial island habitat, innovative reuse of dredged material by providing placement capacity, increasing wetlands acreage in the Chesapeake Bay watershed, decreasing local erosion and turbidity, promoting conditions to establish and enhance submerged aquatic vegetation, and promoting conditions that support oyster recolonization. And as I mentioned, one of the goals of this project is the innovative reuse of dredged material. For some background, there are 136 miles of dredged channels in the Port of Baltimore channel system. This map shows the active dredged material placement sites in green, the planned placement sites, including the Mid-Bay project, in orange, and the inactive placement sites in yellow. Baltimore Harbor dredged material is placed at the Cox Creek and the Masonville dredged material containment facilities. As these facilities reach site capacity, innovative reuse is needed to optimize the life of both of these harbor containment facilities and continue the mandated 20-year plan for harbor material placement capacity. These two maps show the potential channel sources for the dredged material that may be used at James Island and Barren Island. On the Barren Island map, the pink lines represent the channel sources for the dredged material that may potentially be placed at Barren Island to restore the wetlands. So now back to the project at hand. As you'll see on page 2 of the staff report, the restoration of Barren Island will occur in 3 phases. Phase 1 is expected to begin in mid to late fall 2022. Phase 2 is expected to begin around 2024 or 2025. And the Phase 3 schedule is unknown, depending on the material and funding availability once the first 2 phases are complete. Phase 1 involves the installation of the areas of stone sill and breakwater that do not require foundation replacement. Phase 2 involves the removal of existing unsuitable foundation material and the emplacement of suitable material in order to install the remaining sill and breakwater sections. And 2 bird nesting islands will be integrated into the breakwater segments. And then the wetland creation will begin in Phase 3 with authorized dredge material being emplaced behind the stone sills. While the main project priority is dredge material placement, the overall purpose is to make the island and surrounding habitats more resilient. As part of the larger Mid-Bay project, the Barren Island project will restore eroding remote island habitat and protect it and its adjacent aquatic resources by integrating resilient practices while also providing beneficial use for the maintenance dredge material. This image shows the historic shoreline of Barren Island. The bluish green line represents what the shoreline looked like in the 1800s. The pink line is the shoreline in the 1940s, and the yellow is the 2020 shoreline. Various tools and modeling were used to account for climate resiliency in the project design. The permits and review by other agencies can be found on page 3 of the staff report. MDE issued the water quality certification in April, and the report and recommendation was forwarded to the Board of Public Works. The Army Corps issued a finding of no significant impact, and time of year restrictions for various natural resources have been identified and addressed in coordination with DNR, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, and the National Marine Fisheries. Coordination with DNR will continue through design and restoration of Barren Island, and MHT's historic preservation review is ongoing. Concerns that were previously raised by the reviewing agencies have been addressed, including questions that came up after last month's subcommittee presentation. An adaptive management work group will be established so that agency coordination can continue and any future concerns can be addressed throughout the various phases of the project. And Commission staff has requested to be a part of this work group. In accordance with MDE regulations, a public notice was published in the Maryland Register and on MDE's website. In addition, notice was provided to adjacent property owners. The public hearing period was between October 22nd and November 29th, 2021, and MDE has confirmed that only letters of support were received. So thank you very much, and I will now turn it over to you, Chairman Deegan.
Thank you so much. And I'll recognize Sandy Hertz. You around, Sandy?
I'm here.
I'll give you the floor. You got a motion you want to make?
I do. Thank you, Chairman Deegan. On behalf of the project subcommittee and in accordance with the staff report and presentation, I move that the commission approves the MDOT MPA and U.S. Army Corps of Engineers proposal to restore remote island habitat at Barren Island, located in the Chesapeake Bay, approximately 1 mile west of Upper Hoopers Island in Dorchester County. This motion is offered in accordance with the staff report and presentation and the following condition. Prior to the start of construction, MDOT MPA shall submit a copy of the approved tidal wetland license to commission staff.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Mahoney second with conditions.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Mahoney. Any discussion? Hearing none, I assume you're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? And this project is approved unanimously. This is a great project. A lot of you got to see some of it from the port, why we're doing it. And if you've ever taken a Poplar Island tour, it's very similar to that too. So hopefully get back to Poplar Island. I like that tour. It'd be a nice way to get it back to the forefront again when we're doing it. And I know a lot of you like going to Mason Cove, so we might think of something like that in the future too again. The only other things I have, well, first of all, was any old business? Being none on any new business. I did want to mention, well, I guess I should say that our next meeting will probably be the 1st of June. We might have a guest at the commission meeting for lunch. It'll probably be in person. I do want to mention that we did have a visitor to the office this month. The First Lady of Maryland stopped by for a little over an hour and something and talked to the staff. And I think they found that very informative. It was nice to have her here. Since this is being recorded, I won't make any other comments. But the office really looks nice now. It's been cleaned up a little bit. So that's about all. Emily, do we have any legal?
No, I do not have any legal updates today. Thanks.
Okay. Nothing else. I think we've set a record here. It's 1:38 and we're ready to adjourn. Kate, do you have anything else?
Nope, we do not have any additional business.
Okay, well, we got a lot of work to do before the 1st of June if we're going to have a meeting in June. right?
Well, hopefully some things come in the door.
She don't like it when I put her on the spot like that, but thank you all very much. I appreciate your time today, and have a great week, and we'll stand adjourned. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.